I want to do this in my studio because I have a pet here.
It's a kitty cat.
Crazy. Awesome. So this painting is called The Pursuit of Pleasure. It did really well when I posted it to TikTok. I had a lot of people requesting that I do a live, but I didn't want to do it on any social media platforms because I didn't want to get content violated, because a lot of the algorithms and the like terms of service for a lot of social media platforms are changing and getting way stricter on all things women. But yeah, so this painting is the first part of a series, and sorry, I hope you guys can't hear that. There's some weird noises happening in the neighborhood. But yeah, the premise of the series, it kind of centers around the idea that for millennia, women kind of were not in control of defining what womanhood was or what femininity was. We were just kind of expected to play a role that was predetermined for us. And now, at least with my generation, I think women have had a decent amount of liberties for the last 50 years. I wouldn't say that we have full equality just yet, but we've had a lot of liberties in the last 50 years that were not given to the generations before us. And like my generation specifically, when I was a child, I saw women in office, and I was raised on girl power media, and didn't really have anything that was like forcing me to kind of accept the idea of womanhood that was provided. So I kind of got to make it up as I went, and I'm finding now that I'm, in my mid-30s, that there's a lot of women that felt that way, and that have kind of their expectations of womanhood that was like presented in the media haven't really like come true. Like the reality is very different. And I think in that like liberation and in that freedom and like coming to terms with the fact that we were like what's represented and what's actuality aren't really like aligning. I think a lot of women have created these sanctuary spaces where they can truly be themselves, and they can kind of create their own rituals and like redefine womanhood and release a lot of shame around womanhood. And that's kind of the basis of the series that I'm working on. And this is the first one in the series. It is called The Pursuit of Pleasure. And I had a lot of questions on the internet about it. Like, why is there a broom in bed? Like, what's going on? What's all the symbols? Like, it's so busy, and why the mirror? And, all these things. So I wanted to kind of give everybody an opportunity to ask me questions, and kind of just explain a lot of what was going on here. There is a great quote from Ali Wong that she says, equal pay is great, but that's not what I want. I want equal pleasure. And that is something that I think, like, while women have like worked really hard to have their careers and the ability to make their own money and own property, I don't think that women get the same amount of pleasure in life as men. I just don't think it's as expected. Like, women are expected to do more of the labor and not really even have like a sex drive. Or if we do have a sex drive, we're not supposed to talk about it. And okay, Mom, I'm gonna mute you again.
Oh, sorry.
So yeah, if women aren't really allowed to have a sex drive, or if we do, we're like shamed for it. We're not supposed to like even talk about how we desire pleasure, or like it's even the way that we define sex is based on like whether a man completes. It's really like that's it. Like it's not really anything about like women, even though women have an organ that is specifically only there for pleasure. Like that's the only use of that organ is just pleasure. And so this is kind of a painting that is very vulnerable for me to share, especially I guess with my mother and boyfriend's mom. But yeah, I do think this is a thing that women aren't really allowed to talk about, but I think a lot of women are like really enjoying, being able to like find that self-love. And there is a lot going on in this painting, so I will start with maybe the cat. There is a little kitty back there, and I think that is because there's a lot of if you have spent any time on the internet. Oh, whoa, okay, cool. you spent any time on the internet as a woman who has any form of liberation, has any form of body hair, who has any like ideas of anything, you get told pretty much constantly that you're going to die alone with your cats. Like so, you know, but like that's not a bad thing. Like I think people really enjoy cats. I love my cats and I'm okay with that. Like I would much rather be alone with my peace than in a bad relationship. Which obviously is not the case. But that's why it's also kind of funny. Like I'm not gonna die alone with my cats. Like a lot of the women I know that get told that all the time. We actually are all in very nice, healthy relationships. Um, yeah. And then the big question is always like, why is there broom in bed with her? And there's so many women that just know, especially if you've done any research into the lore of witches and witchcraft. So basically, there's a lot of different reasons on why they're like, oh yeah, witches fly on brooms or whatever. So that some say that we would like put hallucinogenics on the broom and then like absorb it through like writing it, or that they were just crazy shameless women in the woods getting off on their broomsticks and like having it between their legs. And but really it just kind of goes back to the archetype of like the wild woman who isn't shamed for desiring pleasure and is going to enjoy herself. So that's kind of the purpose of this painting. Like it is supposed to be very provocative. There is also the condom in the chalice, and that's just kind of like a tongue-in-cheek joke for me, mostly because who wants splinters? And but then to get like deeper into it, the entire series is going to be based around these glimpses or these portals through these mirrors into these moments of women, that are kind of like not talked about, that are a little like women know that they exist, but they're not in the media. They're not like a mainstream thing that happens. And I think especially given the climate right now of women's rights being stripped back, that I kind of want to do this series mostly to kind of stake a flag in the ground and be like, no, we were here, we were liberated, and this is what it looked like for us. So through like millennia, women have been in paintings and we have been models, and like men have painted women, but it's just really been that, like it's been modeling. It's not been artwork that is by women for women through the female gaze. So I really want this series to be by women for women, about women, but through the female gaze. But I want to keep that romance. I don't, I want it to still be something that feels holy or divine. So the reason that I have all this filigree and all the colored glass and all this stuff is I want to kind of call to the iconography of like churches and the any sort of like sacred space where we connect with the divine, where women have always kind of been ousted. We're not allowed positions of powers in those institutions. So we end up finding our own paths to divinity and to connection. So that is why I've painted most of these things. If you guys have any other questions about this or anything you want to add, I'm happy to take questions now. And then I was going to show you guys the sneak peek, like an exclusive sneak peek of the sister painting that is almost done, but I locked myself out of my studio an hour ago, and so I don't have any physical copies of anything. I just have this digital of this. And but if you've signed up for this, you'll also be on my mailing list for my collectors, so you'll still get the earliest sneak peek when it is done. But yeah, any questions, any thoughts, anything you want to add? I am gonna, oh, one more thing, sorry. I am going to be opening this up to be more collaborative. So these first two paintings are kind of based around my experience in redefining womanhood, but I will be also interviewing other women about things that they do, rituals that they do that they don't necessarily see represented, but makes them feel connected to their womanhood in a really authentic and genuine way. So this, and I want it to be intersectional and multi-generational. So I'm going to be opening up a call for that fairly soon to like allow other women to collaborate with their stories and paint them. So
I saw that your candles are floating.
Okay, yeah, I did not discuss or address that. So yeah, I wanted there to be chaos, and like these prismatic effects of kind of like these distortions, or like the world is busy, and like, you know, outside of this moment, outside of these like sacred kind of sanctuary spaces and moments that we create for ourselves, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of chaos, there's a lot of repetition, a lot of noise. So these prismatic effects where everything kind of duplicates is the kind of referencing that. You will notice that everything, just about every single thing, duplicates except for the figure in the painting. So yes, I can zoom in on them, and like these candles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh. So everything, is it zooming? Where am I? Am I on the right?
Yeah,
Is it zooming? Okay, just checking. Yeah, this is the maiden voyage of virtual studio sessions, so I'm figuring it out. But yeah, so everything duplicates at least once, if not twice, and there's all these multiples, for the most part. But the only like strong, steady, like solitary item is the figure. So, and it all kind of like leads into her, the composition. So it's really kind of like finding that moment that centers you, that grounds you, that makes you feel like authentic in who you are. And the reason I have the two, why can't I move this? Sorry, guys. I'm still learning. The reason there is also the, let me go up. The two
lantern.
two curtains with the billowing air coming through them. I wanted that to kind of feel like lungs, kind of like the moment of taking a breath, to like kind of come back to yourself. And now it's not letting me zoom out. Okay, this was great.
I have a quiet moment, so I'm going to sneak in there with a question because I can't figure out how to
Sure.
type and I can't find the message box. So you kind of addressed it with the duplication, because I was going to ask if it's also supposed to feel like a portal, because that's kind of how I feel like it's.
Yeah, the entire series is based around these kind of like portals into these moments. So the series was all going to be based around, you know, they're mirror reflections, but they're supposed to act as like portals into these kind of sanctuary spaces, or like these sacred moments that women have that are just kind of like ours or theirs, or that are not necessarily spoken about or given any sort of like,
anything
really,
like a message of crossing the veil, because it almost feels a vibe of like you've passed through a portal, you've crossed the veil into another time and space, or is that just my brain?
No, I'm glad you see that. Okay, I refreshed. Now it's the whole thing. Yeah, no, that is definitely, I mean, if you followed my work for a while, which I know you have, I definitely lean more towards magical, mystical women, but I was doing more of the like transcendental beings, more fantastic and otherworldly. But now I think, due to the climate of the country and the world in general, and the rise of fascism and, you know, more patriarchal dictatorship, I really want to take a moment and paint women that exist here and now in modern times. And while this is very romantic and calls back to like earlier paintings, they're like a little bit more like classical. Like I'd use oil paint, and I do that because it also calls back to like the old masters and other old romance painters. But I'm also using a very modern palette. I'm not using a palette that like a color palette that is expected. So I'm kind of fusing the old with the new in a way of referencing and kind of reclaiming all of the paintings that have been done of women where they were just kind of models for the male gaze, and being like, no, we're not going to do that this time. We're reclaiming and we're updating it and we're making it more female gaze. But yes, magical women is always going to be what I paint, I think, because women are magic, and we've been oppressed for years and years. And, you know, if you just think about like all the women who were healers that ended up being horrible ends, throughout centuries and centuries of history, because we were able to, like, women were able to, like, work and heal and do things and divine things that just weren't necessarily understandable to a lot of the men, and they just didn't like that power. I think a lot of it is that they don't want to see us have any real power, but now we do have a little bit, and I'm going to document it through this series.
Well, I'm grateful that you are speaking it out loud in a way that touches me. Now, it's not just because you're my daughter. I've been watching your art, yes, but this touches me in a sense of how our generation was, my own generation, and it was worse the generation before myself. But I had a really difficult time with my own sexuality as a young person, because you're told, oh well, unless you're attached and committed to this person, that is a taboo. You don't even, that makes you dirty and nasty. It's such a natural thing. It's such a natural experience, and I'm grateful that you're bringing such light and a space for people to.
I want kids. I want kids.
You can't be in here.
Talking about womanhood.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Our expectations are that we have no privacy, and that we're just
Whoopsie.
children. But
My daddy was helping,
yeah,
and he
I
kind of
think
lost
that
track.
actually you touched an important part that we haven't really discussed, is that if you're growing up in, like, a more conservative space, and you weren't, I mean, we aren't really educated about our bodies at all, and I think science is kind of just now starting to understand women, or, like, even look into women. Like, women have been suffering from endometriosis forever, and they're just now finding that there are all these markers in menstrual blood that you can just do a blood test and confirm that, oh yeah, this is endometriosis. You don't have to have invasive surgery to do it, and that we just have never prioritized women's health or women's bodies. It's the same thing with the clitoris. Like, that organ was only recently discovered that it, like, wraps all the way back. It's like a long wishbone thing that wraps all the way around the canal, and that was only the 90s we found that out. But we actually, like, took the time to be like, maybe we should study this thing. So yeah, I just think there's something really powerful about, like, owning your body, or owning the amount of pleasure it can give you, and just kind of loving it, even if even if the world's telling you not to. When I did an open studio, I had a lot of women come in, not realize that this was me, almost. They were like, "Oh, I love that you did it," and I'm just like, I've never been held accountable like that. There's something exciting about it. And that's not necessarily something you're told to want to be. But, like, representing, like, your bodies, I think, is really
There's
important. And
there's something that we can't get that's interrupting the sound.
oh, am I still?
Now I can hear you better.
Okay. I think I have a mic and it does noise reduction. So it might have been trying to cover something.
Okay, I'm back. I found myself a place where I could lock the door. Sorry, I don't know why I didn't think about that sooner. But yeah, you're back, Whitney. Patricia, it's kind of the same with you. We're not seeing you. Sorry for the interruption. But anyway, were you in the middle of something there?
I see myself.
Yes, Patricia just.
There you are.
What was it? I was saying that, like, there's something really powerful about, like, reaching the bodies and getting them. I think you guys hear me? No, you can hear me.
Partially, like it breaks
There
up.
you are.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I see you again. We're having bad weather here, so I don't know if that's affecting anything. You're on mute, Whitney.
How about now?
There you are. There you
No?
are.
Okay. Yeah, I removed my mic. I don't know. It was working fine and then it wasn't. Yeah, I was saying that like I think women are, I think being raised a woman in this world is a very violent experience. I think there is like violence and doom just kind of inherent in the experience of being a woman. And we, from a young age, are like told that we have to change our bodies. Our bodies are like, you know, there's so many things we have to do to like be attractive or be presentable or be like the right weight or the, you know, like the, like I'm like 145 pounds now. I've never been this size. And there's something about like that number that I'm like, wait, that's too big for me. But it's really not. Like I'm not unhealthy and I think I still look really good. And like even it's just a whole thing of constantly being told to be different, be better, work harder. And it's all based on the male gaze. It's all about how attractive you can be for men. It's about the aesthetics of your body, not what the function of your body is, or like how strong your body is, or how much pleasure your body provides you. Like, so I think a lot of this piece specifically is about finding different metrics to value your body and like accept and love yourself, because whether or not I fit into a size 2 is really arbitrary and like not a good measure of the value of my existence. But like finding ways to love my body, like how much pleasure does my body provide me? Like that's something that's awesome. I'm so excited I get to experience that. Or, you know, like my body can lift things, which is great. So finding the things that you can really enjoy about your body, not necessarily about like the way it looks, is a wonderful way of like reframing that idea and like not letting the patriarchy tell you to be ashamed of your body just for it being the way it is. Like you don't have to do that. That's like we can drop that shame. So a big part of this series is finding ways in which women are refusing to feel the shame that we've been feeling for millennia and just loving ourselves anyway.
It's a wonderful message that a lot of women can benefit from, to come out of their uncomfortable zone. It took me a lot of years to even consider having a conversation. Like I can have a conversation like this now with my father, which is weird, but not weird. I mean, it's the human body. He has no problem talking about himself, you know, and his desires.
Desire pleasure. Men are
Yeah.
always, that's always been okay for them. Like to the point that they will say nasty things to women in the street. And it's like, that's just a guy thing to do. Boys are supposed to be that way. But if a woman were to do that, oh my God, what a slut. What a hussy. What a disgusting woman. She's obviously ill-virtued. Like, you know, there's just like this double standard that is so awful. And like, I refuse to accept it anymore.
Right. Well,
women desire pleasure. It's a fact. And you know, we should be allowed to accept that. It shouldn't be a taboo.
So absolutely not. And no young girl should be brought up thinking that she has to be ashamed of her body. By all means, I had different ideas of what was beautiful, and all women are beautiful in my eyes, you know, but I was hard on myself because of what society says your body is supposed to look like and be.
I know.
You know, I look back then and I'm like, why was I so hard on myself? You were still beautiful. You were beautiful just the way you were.
Yeah, I think we're taught to have these inner voices that tear ourselves down. And there's been, I mean, I've done a lot of work to be like, why is that my first thought about my body? We're not going to think that anymore. Like, we're going to replace that thought and have a different thought about my body and replace it with something good. And honestly, it's so freeing. Like, I haven't shaved my armpits in like a decade. And the truth is I think it's cute. And that's why I don't do it. Like, I feel weird when I shave my armpits. It looks and feels icky to me. I look down and I go, oh, I feel gross. And, you know, if you're somebody who enjoys shaved armpits, great. But like, I think there's been a big journey for me as a woman to be like, wait, what do I actually like? What do I actually find attractive on myself? Like, what really makes me feel authentically good about me? And really lean into that and just kind of not let anybody else be like shame me into doing or like conforming to like the societal standard. So
Yeah, I'm looking at the painting at the woman in the bed, and I can't pinpoint exactly what it is, but you can tell it's painted by a woman and not a man. I mean, there's a lot, like you talked about the classics. There's a lot of nudes there that you say look like they're modeling. This one looks like a person who's cozy and doing it for themselves. I don't know if you were trying to achieve that, but that's the
absolutely. Originally, she was going to have her eyes closed.
Mm-hmm.
And then I painted them with her eyes open just to see. And I was like, oh, so I liked the eyes open. And that was a big decision when I painted this, because she ends up staring directly at the viewer, but she's staring at herself lovingly. And that's totally fine. Like, we're told that if we are too into the way we look, or if we like our body, then we are arrogant, or, you know, like just full of ourselves. But like, why? I can like myself. Why? Like, who benefits from me disliking myself? That definitely puts power into other people's pockets. And I don't want anybody to have that power over me. So I think having her staring at her reflection and also end up staring at the viewer is a really important part of this piece, for kind of challenging that idea that women aren't allowed to love themselves even if they're not perfect. Like,
Maybe that's what it is, because most of the paintings, like the classical paintings that are with nudes, they're not looking at the painter. They're looking somewhere else.
right. And I think maybe that is what it is. I also think, like, while she's in a potentially sexualized pose, nothing was done to hypersexualize her. She's not there to be an object or be objectified. She's there to, I think, indulge in the things that she likes, and, you know, which could easily be like a step into pornography, but I don't think that's not what we're going for here.
I don't think so at all.
I think that would be in the eyes of the beholder, so to speak.
Yeah.
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 What is the
I
little
guess-
thing on the bed and sort of in front of her?
Oh,
I'm
that
just
is a
kidding.
vibrator.
A what?
A vibrator.
Okay, I couldn't tell from here. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, because it could be, it kind of looks like a little tiny, like a little flashlight. And I didn't know if there was an illumination message or something, but now
Oh, there you go.
yeah, got it. Yeah. I was going to, you took
And if you weren't sure about what she was doing in bed with the broom, you know now. Yeah. Again,
Okay.
the piece is meant to be provocative. And yeah, I also really like painting things that the more you stare at it, the more you notice.
Yeah.
I am kind of a masochist in that way, where I just am like, we got to throw everything at this painting. This painting's got to tell a really long story. But yeah, I enjoy doing that. And that's why my paintings take me 3 months to complete, because there's a lot that goes into them. So,
Well, I'm really happy that you're offering this, because paintings are, you can break them down in your own mind in the way that it speaks to you, which I think art is supposed to do. But now that you've told me about the breathing, the flowing of the the curtains and the breathing of the lungs, I can't stop but feel that now.
Mhm.
And so that is wonderful. That being said, I've been drawn to and maybe it's just no meaning whatsoever, but I wondered if there were a meaning, or those herbs hanging there had any specific meaning.
I think it's once again a callback to women are healers and
Yeah.
have been using herbalism to heal themselves. And I do think that's going to be a continued theme, at
Right.
least in the next painting, in the sister painting. I, as y'all know, have struggled with really painful periods my entire life. And then this year was able to cure them with tea.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think like there's a lot of that knowledge that women had that was kind of wiped out. And I think there is a movement to rediscover that so that we can heal ourselves in ways that the Western medicine isn't necessarily giving us the time of day. It's there, it's available. I just don't think that there's always been, like, women's pain has just always been kind of pushed to the side and been like, oh, you're over exaggerating. Like, it's not really that bad. You know, you just take a Tylenol, it's fine. Which anybody who's had endometriosis knows, like, it is excruciatingly painful. So I think that is kind of another symbol, or in this series of women kind of reclaiming their own power through the use of herbalism. And like I'm sure the more women we have in science and as doctors and like studying this stuff will make amazing advancements now that we're actually looking at it. But for the time being, I was able to heal my uterus with some tea. So
it's a very powerful message.
Yeah. You know, there's also, she's got the herbal bundle in the foreground as well. And
I saw it.
Yeah.
Did you choose the copper for a particular reason, or because it looks nice? Because it does look nice.
I think it's also part of that journey to health for me, because copper is, again, one of like an ancient metal that's antiviral and actually imbibes water, like it not imbibes, that's when you drink. It imbues, yeah, there's the word. It imbues the water with minerals and stuff. And so we've gotten a reverse osmosis filtration system here, and that takes everything out of the water, even the good minerals. So by storing it in the copper, you get to put a little bit back. I mean, it's probably not a full spectrum, it's probably not great, but it does also kind of call back to like ancient wisdom. And I think women do that. I think women are containers. I think anything you put inside a woman is going to come out better, and, you know, with better properties and healing. I think women transmute that stuff. So women as a vessel for transmutation and healing, I think, is also a big theme with copper pot being in there.
Okay.
We're all just nodding. Yeah.
Yes,
I asked because you can't help but notice it.
Yeah, it's a very striking part of the painting for sure.
Yeah, you feel like you could reach out and just grab it and pull it right out of that painting. As the glass.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I've really had a good time painting glassware and these metal surfaces and things that are really reflective and full of color. So that lots more to come on that from me, because I really enjoy it. And then I just think it works really well as like the iconography of like churches and temples and sacred spaces, but these are the ones that women's make because we weren't allowed to have leadership there forever. So we create our own moments, our own sanctuaries. Oh, you're muted, Shriva.
Beautifully done. I'm really excited about the sister painting.
Yeah, I was really hoping to show you guys, so I'm very sorry that I am very ADHD and locked myself. This is not the first time I have locked myself out of my studio. So, and then they weren't the management won't be back till tomorrow, so I'll be able to access it tomorrow.
Okay.
We will be creating a spare key to keep here at the house so that this doesn't happen another time.
Good idea.
Yeah, so next time we have a studio session, it will be probably in the studio. No promises, but that it will be the plan. Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank
Well-
you guys so much for joining me on the Maiden Voyage, my first ever studio session. I will be cutting this down quite a bit and then sending it out for anybody who wants to watch the replay. But yeah, unless anyone's got any other questions, it was really great to see you guys. And
Well done. Very well done.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Looking forward to the next one.
Yes, definitely.
Awesome.
All right.
I think my cat is trapped in the other room, so I have to go now.
Okay.
Meowing.